Hello, everybody. How you doing? I'm going to direct my camera towards the two candidates for the school board, since I'm the outcast here. We want you to concentrate on them so you can start your vetting right now. Okay?
All right, and my camera is on the great James Slim Overton on tonight. Anyway, welcome everyone to Real Talk Live with Barry, Arnett, and James. You guys know we have been coming to you all once a month faithfully. Now this is our fourth month in a row, and we want to continue to come and talk with you guys, and hopefully you guys can send us some requests or some different stories or things that you all would like for us to put on air and to bring light to. But tonight we're going to start this show off with blowing the whistle on crime. It is the city manager's Dr. Lydia Patton's new initiative on crime, and I just wanted to talk about that tonight, kind of get a feel from the community, and also share with my co-hosts here and get some thoughts and ideas from them. So before we go into some things that's near and dear to my heart with what has happened recently, I'm going to ask Mr. James Overton, what is his thoughts, or not necessarily what are your thoughts, but what did you think, rather, when you first heard blow the whistle on crime?
The first thing I did, I went back to the 70s when I was used to go to the clubs and we used to blow whistles on the floor, on the dance floor. But anyway, when I first heard that, I said, wow, the first thing I thought was, that was kind of crazy. You know, I mean, I was wondering if they were serious about it, or it was just something that they were just throwing out there at us. And then I realized they were serious about it, and I said, well, I value a good effort, but I don't know if that's what is going to really help us solve some of curtail some of the crimes that's going on there. It might work in some situations, close net situations,
right.
But it's not. I was just telling Arnett earlier, if they based it on London, the way they used to use the whistles, most of the police were on every block, and they were in a close proximity of hearing the whistle. So when they heard the whistle, all of them came.
Right.
So even that's changed now because the city has grown and everything. So in certain neighborhoods, it might work to help bring awareness to neighbors to come out there. But basically, I don't understand how it's being figured that it will put a big dent. I think it should have been another approach along with that. But to just put that out there, and I'm still waiting to hear from our leaders. Right. And I know that they cannot stop all this crime, but at least acknowledge that you see it's happening out there, and you acknowledge to the families that are being affected by it.
Right.
Say something.
Right.
To us about we feel you or something like that.
Right.
Especially, and we go back to this, especially when you ran on that platform.
Right.
So that's how I initially took it. But I try to be open to whatever works and the efforts that might be put out. But just to put that out there and just leave us out there with whistles,
right,
and not have a backup. We'll say we're following up with this plan.
Right, gotcha. Arnett, so what was your thoughts?
Well, first of all, having a law enforcement background, peace officer certified, went to police academy and everything. The first thing you don't do is advise the citizens to do anything that may put themselves in jeopardy. I've been retired for about 5 years now, but I still remember that. And to me, the type of crime that we have now is way different from the 18th century, 19th century. Well, 18th century crimes, because I think that's when they was using the whistles over there. And the crimes are different, and the mindset is different. These people don't care about life. Right. So they get up on you and you start blowing a whistle, you have put yourself in more danger because they don't want to get caught.
Right.
So we don't have enough law enforcement to be on every corner or to be nearby. And I know you don't think that the citizen's supposed to come running when they hear a whistle. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Nothing against Dr. Patton. I respect her and everything. I just feel like this might not have been thought over well, and who did she talk to what is our chief of police doing that she didn't advise her against this, or is she just going along with everything that Dr. Patton said? Because as a law enforcement person, you can't even tell somebody you're not gonna make it. You know, when I'm talking, if you over a victim, you can't say you're not gonna make it. You can't take their will from them. So you definitely don't want to put a whistle in their hand and say blow a whistle when you're being attacked.
Right.
These guys today will shoot you right in the face.
Right. Well, you know, that's the thing, you know, and I told someone, and first of all, let me be clear. It is wrong to take anything from anyone. It is just wrong. But you could have an instance where a man with a gun could just, his intent is to just take your wallet or just to take your purse. That's all his intent is.
And you bring
But
attention
because you blew a whistle,
Yep.
now you have startled him. Now he's scared and now he's panicked. And guess what? He shoots you.
He shoots you
Because
he know you're gonna tell.
Because he know you're gonna tell. He know that you, and just on top of that, he's scared. You know what I mean? So the reality is, I think that it puts the city in a liable situation. It brings more liability on the city because now you have someone say, "Hey, I blew the whistle like the city told us to. I did what the police told us to, and once I blew the whistle, that's when they hit me over the head with a gun. That's when they did this to me." So whether we realize or not, it brings a great deal of liability to the city. And again, like you guys said, you know, Dr. Patton, maybe that's all she know. You know, and I'm trying to take a better approach when I disagree with someone because I vehemently disagree with this. However, this may be all she knows.
Yeah, well, if it works, you know, fine. If it works in some small way, saves one life. And I would wonder too, in a city where we always study and everything.
Right.
Was it some study or some?
Oh, I'm pretty
something
sure.
that showed.
Oh, yeah,
this worked somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm gonna be that type of person.
In modern times.
Yeah, well, now that may be the issue, right? It's the study part was outdated because regardless of whether or not I agree with this administration, I do want to give props where it is due. I think that Dr. Patton would not have did this without looking into something.
Right.
But like Arnett said, it probably was an outdated study, or it could have been a different demographics. It could have been a small town. It could have been a city,
robberies,
right,
and stuff like that.
and not violent crimes.
Yeah. And I had said the same thing you said when I first heard it. On my post, I had put, I can see more lawsuits coming.
Yeah.
You know, because the first thing I'm going to say, or any other civilian going to say, is, y'all told me to blow my whistle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I done got hurt.
Yeah. Or when the perpetrator is caught and when he's questioned, well, you robbed them. Why did you kill them? Oh, I didn't mean to kill them. They blew the whistle and I got scared and I shot them.
But you know, in all fairness too, you know, in all self-defense classes or what you teach youngsters to do, if they're in danger or feel like they're in harm's way, to scream and make a loud noise, make as much noise as they can. Right. And maybe it's set on that premise.
But at that same time, because I do something, well, I was a martial arts instructor, well, like a coach. I used to do martial arts.
You did a whole lot of stuff. You did martial
arts, I protect myself
deputy.
As a law enforcement officer. I had to make sure I could fight without a weapon.
So every now and then you could flip me a few times.
Every now and then.
Okay.
Don't make her mad.
But what happens is, at the same time that you're screaming, you're fighting. So you're not just screaming and be making noise.
Right.
You're doing hits. You're kicking.
You're kicking and screaming.
Yes,
and
you're fighting
saying
back.
No. I remember saying those different
making it where you can get away. So you're not just standing there screaming. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly,
you're throwing licks and the screaming is taking them off their game and you hitting them in pressure points and stuff like that.
Well, you know, let me bring some attention to this, and I want to get you guys' opinion of this because, and I know, and let me tell you guys something, and I know somebody's gonna be mad with me for saying this, but the police watch everything I do on Facebook because someone was having a conversation with a police officer the other day, and the police officer quoted them word for word what I said on Facebook, but didn't tell them it came from Barry Randall, but they didn't know that the person had already seen it. So I know they're going to watch this, so I'm not trying to belittle the police or anything like that, but this is something that we have to understand. At any given time, there are 30 police officers on the clock. At any given shift, there's at least 30. They won't give you a definite number, but, we know that there are 30 cops. So then you guys help me with this. PRHA properties, how many are there in the city? You have Westbury, you have Kings Grant, you have the high rise next door, forgot what that's called. You have Swanson Homes,
Swanson Homes.
you have Dale's
Dale's
Homes. Let's even include Lincoln Park for the purpose of this. You have Lincoln Park, you have Seaboard Square, you have Hamilton Place, right? So then let's look at the two HUD properties. You have Southside Gardens and you have London Notes. So we're up to about 10, and we probably missed one or two other PRHA properties. And then let's look at my area, the Prentice Park area. Let's consider that downtown. So the Prentice Park, the Truxton, the Brighton. So you have anywhere between, let's say, 15 neighborhoods where a lot of our violent crime take place on a regular. My question is this. If they are serious, if Dr. Patton and them are serious about combating crime, why don't we have a police officer on foot, on bicycle, with a key to the rental property's office, because a deal made with the property, my office, we're going to have an officer there from 6 p.m. to midnight. That's when most crimes happen. Because I get it. Because people are going to say, oh, in the perfect world, you know, we'll have a police officer at every neighborhood, all that. Okay, we're not in the perfect world. You telling me that there's no money in the budget, whether PRHA rent them, hire them for 6 hours, where most of our crime happen? If you look at what we've been posting for the last 4 or 5 weeks, someone was shot at 11:52. The police was called at 10:52. The police was called at this place at 9 something. I'm not saying crime doesn't happen between 12 midnight, 6 in the morning, but how often do we hear, we know about someone being killed in our city before we go to bed?
But do we want to put our law enforcement officers there, or do we want to put security there and have them to be the extension of the law enforcement officers, being that I know that we're probably short down here. We wouldn't want to occupy all their time in these places, but to have a security person there that can get on the phone, because I believe in being a good witness, and can get on the phone and say, hey, we got something about to crank up, we need some help. I need you to get down here.
Right, but playing devil's advocate, the problem with that, in my opinion, is you have people that don't only respect only one thing, and that's the police. Because if the security officer, they don't care nothing about what he or she does, but when it's the police officers, it's totally different.
But
because
they're not there. But see, they're not there to be the police. They're there to be the eyes. They're there to be the ones that get ready to see something happening and call in. They're there to do their rounds and say, hey, I got some crowds out here. Can you send somebody just to come and check? Because the police officer really needs to be still with their partner. You don't want to go on a scene and you don't have any backup.
Yeah, but when you look at it, how often do we have 2 police officers in a car?
Well, they still got partners. They still should have partners. They're probably just in different cars to cover more ground.
Right. But I just noticed that whenever I'm driving down the street, I see a Portsmouth police officer car parked at the BP. I see a Portsmouth police officer car parked at Family Dollars, and they'll stay parked there for hours. But my thing is, if you know that this is where the problem areas are, why aren't you parked there? Because let's get back to what Chief Chapman tried to start, which was community engagement. Because let's be fair, how can we get angry with citizens who won't talk when the police only comes when something happens?
Well,
is it something where there's a thin line between city police being involved on these properties, on these government properties? Is it something, seemed like to me at one time?
Well, no, they had hired them at one point, but then I guess, money, funding, or whatever the case may be, they didn't. And then I do know that there were some.
Them as off duty.
Right, but then there were some officers that was double dipping, and they was on the city clock and also on Southside Garden clock at the same time. But I believe Chief Chapman found that out, and that's why they really didn't care for her. But I guess what I'm saying is, if you're a police officer, and this is Officer Arnett, she's walking the community. They know her out there. They developed a relationship. They know that she cares. She's out there doing a job. She's playing basketball with the kids. Because, when springtime get here, they like safe time go forward so it'll get dark around 7:30, 8 o'clock, as opposed to how early it get dark now. Or she's out there just talking to people. Then people will feel comfortable. Hey, I just want to let you know that,
But that's community policing. That's what community policing is, going out into the community. But Officer Arnett really don't want to be by herself when she first start that. I need to, me and my partner need to go out there and start meeting people. Because see, the first thing they think is somebody they want you to snitch. You got to be sincere when you go out there and just start talking to people, let them know you care. That's the first mistake. And if they don't have the officers that can do that, it's not going to work because they're still not going to trust you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, unfortunately, they want to see somebody that they're familiar with.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Because everybody just can't go out into your neighborhood and start talking to you like y'all cool.
Right.
They got to start trusting you.
You have to establish some sort of
Relationship.
relationship
Right.
there.
Right, but that's my point, and that's the problem that we're having because
Nobody's
everybody's
there long
saying
enough.
no, right, and well, I got a better one for you. No one is ever out there except for when they do the reset walks or if they're looking for someone. So no one talks because it's like, why aren't you all out here on a regular?
Well, they sort of changed their focus because I know out in Truxton we had several officers, and their times there were long. I had a relationship with each one of them when I was president, and they were there long enough to call me on a regular, and I'm sure some of them do that with Elvira.
Right.
But we had one fellow there recently until it was changed, and he was there long enough where even the guys on the corner respect him. They knew he didn't play.
Right.
And when he was there, the corners were clean, and he just knew who was causing the problem and everything. And then that changed, and then all of a sudden you see a different guy each time.
Right.
And he has to reestablish himself in the neighborhood.
Exactly.
Which is
Yeah.
and I know that's kind of hard to have somebody out
Yeah.
there for a long time because people want to move on and people want to advance and things
But
like that.
I'm with what you guys are saying. I'll take anything, whether like you're saying, whether security. But my point is, there's no reason why, if we know that we keep having hotbed of crime in certain communities, that there's no security out there. And like I said, 6 hours is not going to hurt anyone. To be out there for 6 hours patrolling.
It'll hurt if you're short.
No, I'm talking about whether it's security. If they just hire
okay.
security just to be eyes and ears. But what I'm saying is, people know that we have security out here, so we can't have the dice game going.
So as far as the whistles are going, I'm sure the conversations we're having right now, hopefully, and I'm almost sure that these are the conversations they're having, trying to figure out what will work, what's the best thing will work. And I guess they never seem to really have enough people to fill all the positions that they need.
Right.
And the old thing where they train here and then they go for better paying jobs.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things. But
Yeah.
the whistle thing, I would be interested to know how. I see some people are responding there, but I can't see that far.
Right.
We're gonna have to get
But
y'all
I would be interested to know how other people feel about the whistle. Looking on Facebook leading up to this conversation, I haven't seen too many people that were in favor of it or could see.
slap it off.
To see
Well-
something, and jokes come from it.
Yeah.
And like I said, it might be something that could work in small settings.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Don't blow that thing. You make me
Yeah,
mad.
Right. Well, look, I've
But,
had police officers laugh about it,
Mhm.
and I wouldn't put their names out there because they have to follow protocol. But the reality is, we know that we're in a city that everything comes from the top. It comes from the city council to Dr. Patton. Because do not think for a moment that Dr. Patton would have came with this initiative when we have strong police supporters such as Councilwoman Elizabeth Simmons, Councilman Nathan Clark. They would not have allowed her to come forward with this initiative had they not been in agreement. Because they stand 100%. Say what we will about those two, but they stand with our police department 100%. So this is something that they're in agreement with, and this is obviously something that Dr. Patton is in agreement with. So it's not fair to Chief Green, because whether she's in agreement with it or not, she has to follow protocol, and she has to do what
Because
the
they
city
have a
manager
very
wants.
effective video out there
Right.
showing how this thing would work. And like I said, getting back to, it probably would work on a small setting.
That in living color skit. I'm sorry, I was offended. I couldn't even watch the
But-
whole video.
But I'm saying the way they showing it would work, it would only work in a small, setting, like in a small neighborhood. But
It'll work if they were hijacking cars. And that's what we had going on. That was our biggest problem in enforcement. Hijacking cars.
It wouldn't even work then because the engine would be louder than the whistle.
Yeah.
But
So
what I'm
they
saying is,
they wouldn't even hear
if you
that.
caught them out there at your car, you,
And listen, and suppose you have asthma like me, what whistle you gonna blow? You may get one good puff, and after that, then you lost.
I'm just saying, it's just to me, it's a risk blowing the whistle. It may help some people, but I think it is manipulation. I think you give us a false.
It makes it seem like they're doing something right.
Yeah, you give us false security with this. This is just my opinion. It's a sense of false security. You feel
Right.
like, okay, I got my whistle now. I'm gonna blow my whistle. Somebody gonna come help me. And while y'all not taking care of all these murders we're getting, I need y'all to go and find out what's going on.
Yeah.
What's
yeah.
the root
And,
problem?
excuse me. And speaking of murders, we had one last night.
That one last night.
Yeah,
It's
we had
almost
one-
every
And I
night.
was looking at the news and saw that they were 2 in Norfolk. I said, oh, shit, thank God they were in Norfolk. Then I
Right.
wake up the next
Yeah,
day, it's
yeah,
one.
yeah. We had one
Yeah,
enforcement.
like we have to follow each
Yeah,
other.
yeah, we had one enforcement, and then Saturday, Church's chickens were robbed. So, how will a whistle help them when they're inside of a business? If people are that bold and brazen, the reality is there's a tape going around on the Portsmouth Police Department Facebook social media page of a serial robber who is going into various
Oh, yeah.
businesses. So my thing
Not
is,
even hiding his
right,
face.
he's not even hiding his face. So someone knows something. What is being offered to get people to come forward? What enhancements is the FBI using? I mean, the police department has reached out to the FBI to get people to bring the face up clearer so that we can get some type of recognition for what's happening. In Chicago, they have software with cameras that can alert the police to where gunshots are at, because the gunshots there are so much is always happening. It lets them know down to the very street where the gunshots are happening at without anyone having to call 911.
Somebody just sit up there hiring private security would offer more jobs in the city.
It would.
And I'll add to it, give that a dominant effect. If they stayed in the city, more jobs, more taxes being paid,
Right.
more funds to be allocated for things that we need, education and public safety.
Right.
Because the
Those
security
things.
guards, you can't X them out because a lot of them are retired law enforcement.
Yeah.
A lot of security are. A lot of times they're like when I retired, I'm out of it. But a lot of them
You're thinking
retired.
that day they're gonna call me. Yeah, this is the wrong cop.
Right.
Oh,
But
well.
some of those guys are serious. I mean, they have
Yeah.
backgrounds, Marines.
Yeah.
and
Well,
stuff.
my thing is, I
That's
just feel
what
like,
you would look for.
in my opinion, if you're gonna hire security, it needs to be an armed security guard,
Yeah.
because gives people more incentive to take them serious. Because if you hire a security guard, and all he got is a whistle.
But see, when you do that, you have to think about more liability. You see what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
So that's why you're like, can you just carry the flashlight, be a good observer, and you call real quick.
Go ahead on,
let
tell them about the
know it's
whistle,
coming,
and go ahead and take
blow
your
your
whistle.
whistle if you have to, but
Run,
no
get help.
weapons.
Right.
I mean, because you always have to think about the liability.
Liability,
Right.
You know,
Right.
you want
more
to.
people shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And how can you screen those people enough to know that they might have something going on?
But
And PTSD is so easy.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Yeah.
But let me tell you guys this, and I'm gonna tell you something. The problem that we're gonna have though is listen. We have security officers in the school,
Okay.
and the kids won't respond to them because they know it's only but so much. Like the security guard, you can't grab them, you can't do. So even out there in these places, man, it's just gonna be kind of hard because you probably have a lot of security guards that's gonna start quitting because the folk ain't paying them no mind. They see a fight, they got to call. And listen, when those gunshots rung out last week, I called 911 and I almost hung up the phone. And I thought about it and I counted, and the phone rung over 30 times. before they answered the phone, and over a minute had passed. So it's very discouraging when you're calling for help and you can't get through. And remember, we had that problem here in the city when they were saying that, the calls were just overwhelmed. And the reality is, the backstory that they didn't want the public to know is that they had a big shortage over there in that room. So I just think that we really just have to let the police officers do their job. I would be curious to know what Chief Green would like to do now that she's chief without the interference of an Elizabeth Simmons and Nathan Clark and Dr. Pat.
Without them telling her.
Yeah, because just our
And we're
discussion. Go
assuming
ahead.
that they're telling her what to do, because we don't believe, Chief Green, that you came up with this. By no means, being the top police officer, we don't believe you came up with this.
Yeah, and I know you didn't come up with it.
We're assuming that you were told to back this with your officers.
Right. And I mean, and don't get me wrong, that's a good chief. Because we
Well,
know
you gotta do what you gotta do, because somebody can fire you.
You got bills to pay. So you would have
right.
went on TV and talking about some how crazy of an idea that whistle was if you wanted to. You would be at home blowing your whistle.
Because when I
You'll
worked
get trucked.
when I was a deputy sheriff, you didn't know if I was Republican or Democrat. I was getting letters from everybody.
Yes, so exactly. So at the end of the day, we understand that we just need a task force to be serious about this. We need to know what the task force are doing, what the detectives are doing. We actually, and don't get me wrong, it's a double-edged sword. At my last Civic League meeting, I spoke with the lieutenant rather, Parker, and I was just sharing with him some concerns because I had a lot of parents calling me from Dale's Home and other parts of Prentice Park because the police officers, they were stopping young boys in cars, of course, unfortunately black boys. I don't think they targeted them because they were black. It's just that's the predominant neighborhood, black people. So they were stopping the cars and they was taking their IDs and taking pictures of it. Mm-hmm. And I had 3 different phone calls from people that didn't know each other, and the first time I'm like, okay, my mind, maybe your child is in a game, you just don't want to admit it. But then once 2 other parents called me with concerns that the police had stopped their son and asked everybody in the car, they showed them their ID, and then they took pictures of the IDs and then gave them their IDs back and let them know that they had a foul on them. And that was very concerning to me. But of course, Lieutenant Parker said that sometimes officers do that. And he tried to give us an explanation as to why they do that. But I feel like that's a violation of people's rights. I believe I would like to know where those files are being kept. I would like to know, is there a chart somewhere with people's pictures on it? And you just need to be very careful with stuff like that because you can have, 2 childhood friends. One is on the straight and narrow, the other one is in a gang. But because they're friends, you shouldn't punish the one that's a friend to him and just assume that they're in a gang.
Yeah, I would wonder if that falls under probable cause,
Right.
just like searching someone,
Right.
to stop someone and take their picture and put that on file.
Right. So I
don't know
agree.
the
So I agree
legality
with you
of that.
guys in reference to you want to be careful about too much police involvement because putting the police out there will probably cause issues like that because the police just frustrated as we are. We want something
they don't
done.
get
They
paid
want
that
something
much.
done. Right. They're not getting paid. They're sick of hearing the gunfire. They probably taking cover too because I'm gonna be honest with you all. One night I was driving down Portsmouth Boulevard. And as soon as I crossed the railroad tracks going over by Swanson Home, it was about 40 gunshots. Bah, 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 bah. I could hear it. Police officer was parked at the BP. You think he moved? He probably was waiting for it to stop.
Wait his report stuff. But y'all know, my whole thing is, you can work for the city, you can work for the people and all that stuff. But when you're law enforcement, when you're in the schools and stuff, you at a point you get frustrated and then you be like, man, I don't get paid enough for this. Okay? But my whole issue is, why aren't we, the citizens, rising up like we was rising up when they was murdering, when Mr. Kennedy Wright was our mayor? People was rising up against him. And I know we done had a whole bunch more murders since he was a mayor. And I'm not saying rise up against the mayor. I'm talking about rise up with something. What are you going to do? Don't give me a whistle.
Right.
What y'all gonna do?
I still think they didn't explore what
The option.
their platform was, and one of the things was a commission of citizens and law enforcement and elected officials, especially people on that commission from the areas where the problems are.
Right.
And they're the people you need to get input from.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, the ones that are willing to serve on something like that.
Right.
I mean, why not try something like that? I mean,
Right.
we're not doing anything, so
Right.
that would be something that could be tried. And it was talked about when Kenny was there, and that was going to be something that was going to be
Right.
implemented once the change was made.
Right.
And then the change was made, and nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing. I mean, at least let's try that
Right.
and see
And,
what happens.
and you're right. And see, one thing people don't understand when you become a leader, you can't make decisions, a lot of good decisions for stuff you don't know nothing about.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of people that want to be the leader, and you up here looking down, but you have never been a part of this.
Right. Right. That's not your norm.
Yeah, it's not your norm, so you can't feel it the way us that done been in it
Right.
feel it.
Just like if you all remember when those shootings happened out near Port Norfolk or Shea Terrace here recently, and I love the president of that area. She's a good, great associate of mine. I serve on a board with her. But I was just mind blown, and I understood they wasn't used to that, so they were livid. I mean, she was on the news, and I mean, she ripped them apart, and I was wanting to say, calm down. This happens in our neighborhood every other day. Our kids ducking bullet wound. Saturday night when they were shooting out London Notes, the girl went on Facebook and was like, y'all see the smoke? Because the bullets had went through her window and hit her closet. And she in there with children. And that's how many gunshots it was, that this is our norm.
And we have settled into it as a norm,
yeah.
and we're not rising up. We need to voice.
Right.
We need to voice, or we need to put people in place that's going to be our voice.
Because they've changed policies, so you all know too. If you live in PRJ properties, or if you live in a hood property, they used to transfer you out if traumatic situations happen like this. They don't do it anymore. So guess what? For the people the young lady whose house got shot up in London Oaks Saturday, the person whose house got shot up Swanson Home last week, guess what? You got to deal with it. They won't move you out.
And let me briefly piggyback on a statement I made about the commission. I said elected officials. Sometimes we need to just have citizens and law enforcement and not have the elected officials to keep the politics out of it. I was on a commission a long time ago about economic development, and one of the main things us as citizens talked about, we didn't want the elected officials on that. We wanted to do our thing and make our report to them.
Right.
We wanted to keep the politics out of it.
Right.
And so we could get down to the meat and bones of what we
what's
really need to
happening.
do
Right.
without having people,
Yeah.
and maybe I'm not saying they would do it, but jockeying for attention or
Right. Or not
the
only just
next
that,
election.
if they do something for you that'll make this group over here angry,
Right.
so they want to make sure they don't make them
So
angry, because this is some of their big givers.
Probably would help them out not being a
Right.
part of that.
Right.
It's terrible, because when I worked in Georgia, because I didn't just do law enforcement here, I worked in Georgia as well. We worked in connection. I was in a county sheriff department, but we also worked with the police, whether it be the city police. Matter of fact, we had a team with the city and the county police and the sheriff department. We all worked together when necessary. And because we were certified to be peace officers, they'll pull us out of the jail when need be to go on the street. We didn't have this boundary where the sheriff can't work with the police. Right now, we're in a situation where we need all law enforcement officers to come together. So whatever that,
And the sheriffs can work in their state.
he can.
Yeah.
He's actually the head.
Yeah.
Whatever that problem is that we have downtown, it needs to get fixed.
Right.
Because we got a sheriff that's capable, knows what he's doing, and he puts his deputies through school as well, through police academy as well, and they should be used when needed to be used. Because we don't have enough police on the street.
Right.
Y'all need to team up. That's
Right.
just my opinion.
I agree.
Don't be mad at me.
But
I've been there, done that.
But I still stand on the
And it
fact
works.
that we have over 200 officers on the force, and they saying we're short, and we only have under 25 neighborhoods that have a hotbed of crime.
Yeah, but they gotta get their rest out, Barry. You talking
No,
about
I'm
200
talking about
officers?
for 6 hours. You can't.
They got other stuff to do.
Like what?
They got other things they gotta cover. They gotta cover
They
this whole city.
had
You can't just stay.
Krispy Kreme.
Listen
They had Dunkin' Donuts.
That's right. That's important. Krispy Kreme and coffee. That's important.
You gotta keep that
I'ma
energy up, baby.
Let me tell you, I ain't gonna never not be in law enforcement now. Y'all didn't give it a bash them. But listen, you gotta think about it. They got different areas they gotta cover too. They can't just stay in PRHA and HUD houses. They gotta all enforcement.
And some of them are working
Yeah, that's
second
true.
jobs out of
Yeah,
necessity.
yeah.
And they're not getting enough pay. You right, Mr.
Right.
Overton. So they gotta work 2 jobs. You gotta work some overtime. I did plenty of overtime off duty. Come on now, we
Keep
can't
those
bash
lights
them.
on.
No, we're not bashing because God knows if anything happened, I may
I'm
not like
calling-
it, but I'm calling 911. I'm calling 911.
I call all the time.
Yes, we gonna call 911.
And I
Do
want
hear
you
me?
there.
And I need you there. I don't care what color you are. I need you there.
And don't come
okay, or gender.
With no attitude.
Yeah, just come on. Just come get me.
Say, Miss McSwain, I want you to be so pleasant like you were. Because I'm telling you, it was a difference. It's a difference when Chief Chapman was in charge. When they came, they were so pleasant.
I
They were
miss
so
her.
nice. I'm telling you, they were totally different.
I
And then
miss
when the
Chief
new
Chapman.
chief came, and nothing against you, Chief Green, I just don't know what's going on. Maybe they just dropped all the personality, but they were kind of rude. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the real,
I call for anything.
Hold on, I can tell you what it is.
When I'm in danger.
Chief Green is a very intelligent woman, and she's not crazy. She know Chief Chapman done nothing, and if they can get rid of you for doing nothing, imagine if you speak up.
I understand, but they can still be polite because they were so polite and different when Chief Chapman was in charge. I'm telling you, I wanted to just call and talk to him.
Oh, you just wanted to call? And
I
say,
just
"Hey,
wanted
how
to
you
call
doing?"
and talk to them. That's how nice they were when I had to call them because I had an issue. They came and they was like, "Oh, you should do this and this and that." Okay, girl.
I think she just like the men in the uniform. That's all that is.
Oh no, I'm beyond that, honey.
Oh,
And I'd just like to ask a question to the people that watch all 3 of these feeds, and how many, and you can respond later on after the broadcast, how many people are willing to come together collectively and take this conversation to a broader stage? We've done it a few times. Barry has brought some people together, and one of the things I was impressed, one of those things we had at the church in Brighton,
right.
the people that were there were people that were actually being affected by what was going on, the crime.
Yeah, right.
And I got a chance to listen to them
Right.
rather than listening to people from other places trying to figure it out. Like, you know.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. And with you being a respected person in our community, Slim, maybe you need to take the initiative to put a commission together.
Okay.
They have to listen to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And get some civic league presidents, get some persons that are in the community working, and listen. Put your personal issues to the side. We all have a common issue, and that's crime, violent crime that in our city, and we would like to see something being done. And when they see you have a group of people that are serious and come together, they will have to take note because
And
we're the
people-
ones going to the polls.
And people don't realize somebody gets shot. I mean, and God, hopefully this doesn't happen. We can get numb because it happens so often.
Right.
But just think about it. It doesn't happen to you, but think about how many people are affected when one person is shot and killed.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know I'm
And
affected.
Yes.
And it might just be your neighbor.
But I have a better listen, and I'm not. And
No
this
blood
this
relation,
isn't a
but you
plug
affected
for
by
school board, but this is real. About a year ago, I got in trouble because I took a picture from the bus because we're not supposed to use our phones on the bus. I didn't care, and I stood by my statement. And they asked me to take the post down from Facebook, and I didn't take it down. And Dr. Bracer stood with me. Thank you, Dr. Bracer. But I had to go pick up some children from a bus stop. And at the bus stop, there were 20 candles and 10 balloons because a 16-year-old boy was killed there. And that was his bus stop. Now, not trying to make everything white, not trying to make everything black, but do you think the white folk would allow that in their neighborhood? Do you think a candlelight vigil would have been an appropriate place for a bus stop? Let me correct this. I'm not saying that you could control where a person got killed. What I am saying is they would have made sure that that bus stop was changed. That word would have gotten downtown that we need the bus to pick the children up at the next corner or the next block, because our children do not have funds to go see a therapist or a counselor like other children in other demographics. So they have to stand there and be reminded morning and afternoon for a whole week every day while they go to school and deal with their cousin, their friend or whomever get killed. This is what I realize. So when you say that it affects other people, you are right. It affects so many other people, and we want children to go to school and learn. How can they learn when they have to sit and watch RIP, RIP? They have to see balloons, and then these are kids being murdered.
It affects the mothers. I mean, the parents of other parents, because I know, like this was saying, it affects me for one because I'm like, okay, is this my baby? You know what I'm saying? When you hear it, somebody been shot, because that's what somebody been shot. I'm like, Lord, somebody gonna knock on my door and tell me that my child been shot.
Right.
You know, and then when I have to do the funeral, when me and my parents have to do the funeral, it takes me when he tell me, hey, we got a funeral on Saturday, and I'm like, who is it? You know, and then it be somebody 25 years old. It takes me a week. It takes me that long to get myself together, cause so I won't come in here and cry and weep over these people's family member that's deceased, because it's hurting me just as much as it's hurting that mother.
Right.
You know, it should affect our community like that.
Yes.
We all should be hurting when our babies are being taken and struck down from us. You know.
Right. Hey, I know, Ben. I ain't seen you in years, girl. How you doing? Happy
We
New
just need a
Year's.
better solution than this whistle. I'm gonna keep my whistle, and I'm gonna, see if it work if I ever. But trust and believe, somebody tapped me.
You better pull something out other than a
Baby.
whistle, okay? I would have, listen, I would have rather, being that the superintendent is a female, being that the chief of police is a female, I would have loved to have seen them offer free classes for females for self-defense, whether they have gotten with or instructed in the area. I would have even rather them, especially, and what I didn't get was with Elizabeth and what's her name, Nathan being pro Second Amendment. I would have rather them saying, hey, females, go get your certification to be able to carry a firearm. I'm just saying, I would have been. Some people would have been upset about that.
Real
but I would have been okay with that, because I would have been like, they really do care. But to say a whistle, because now we have to determine to make a distinction between, is there a certain sound that says I need help, or is there just a child playing with the whistle? Because y'all know in our community, the black community, now that we know about the whistle, let your child be blowing the whistle. And you go running like, well, boy, if you don't put that whistle down,
I know, right? Now you done messed up the whistle
then you done
game.
messed up the whistle for kids, because now kids can't even blow the whistle. You know what I mean? So it's just, I really would have. I don't think they took a lot of thought. They put a lot of thought in this, and that they really don't understand what's happening in our community, because it's not happening in their community. They don't. It's probably a rare thing for them to have to hear gunshots and all of that type of stuff. But this is real, and I think that we really need to be very mindful of what's happening. So I'm hopeful that you all will take what Slim said and want to join, want to get excited, and really be active in your community. And don't wait for him to put something together. You can join right now. I did an interview last week on BME TV, and they asked me about what I do in the community and different things I do, and it just came so natural. He said, so what do you want people to do with what you're doing? I said, well, first of all, what I want people to do is not be concerned with trying to join my ministry or my community endeavors. I want people to really join their community civic league.
Yeah.
Get active there first, because I don't need you trying to come all the way from Cavalier Manor to help me down here in my ministry or my community when you're not faithful in yours. And don't get me wrong, I want all the help I can get, but what I am saying is, if all of us take responsibility for our block, you know what I mean? If we take responsibility for our community, how much more would life be if the fathers would go stand at the bus stop in their community? We don't need you coming from Cavalier Manor to stand at a bus stop in Brighton. We need you to go to the bus stop on your corner.
And then collectively come together and share the
Right.
information.
Exactly.
And might help. Look, this is working out in Cavalier Manor. This is
Exactly.
working in Mount Hermon.
Right.
This is working in Churchland.
Exactly.
But and we tried to do that with Civil Leagues. So you got to leave the egos home, baby.
Yes.
You got to leave those egos home. We all going down the same path for a certain goal. We just taking different approaches to
right.
get there.
Right.
So, but our goal is the same. So we just have to leave those egos home alone, because we tried to get the people together, and all we had to do was get together. And this person, well, I want it over here, I want it over there. we don't have time for that. People are dying in our streets.
Right.
Now,
So-
I want to say that I do believe that Dr. Patton and whoever told her, I think they did think diligently about
I
this.
think they were just trying to do something.
Yeah, I believe they
because
did.
nothing was being done or said, so something had to
It
be
just,
done.
it was something fast, but it just didn't. It wasn't the right thing for the crime that we have.
Right.
The crime we have.
Unless
is
they
just
have a
too
follow-up
Yeah,
to
but,
this.
but the reality is this, and let's just deal in truth. People can only give advice to where they live in life.
But that's what we were talking
So
about.
the reality is, no shade, but we have wrong people in office because these persons, this is what they came up with.
I think our office should go by wards anyways.
Yeah.
I think it should be you representing this community, you
yeah,
represent this
that way you
represent-
get a full,
and you
yeah.
you have no choice but to represent me.
Right.
So with the way we do it at large, you can represent anybody can come in and you got like we got right now, 4 or 5 people representing this, these people over here, but nobody's representing this.
Yeah,
These people.
and like you said, that's the problem. We have people with an at-large mentality. So they're getting data, they're getting study from what's happening in Wisconsin and Idaho and Des Moines and Montana. We need people that knows what it feels like to live on Duke Street. We need people to know what it feels like to live on Peach Street, to live on Duke and Des Moines, to live on Portsmouth Boulevard, to live on Cavalier Boulevard, Greenwood Drive. You know what I'm trying to say.
But I done been all up in there, all of it. So
You gotta read her book to know about what she mean by being all up in there. And she called herself a minister.
But you're a minister. That's my book, baby.
She's a minister now. She wasn't then.
That's the name of the
Yeah.
book. That's the name of the book. I won't try to be funny.
Did you read it?
I gotta get it. So yeah, but seriously, that's the thing. When you have persons that don't understand, so they are giving their thoughts. And let me say this too, you I know we almost out of time, but they're not going to take it serious because guess what? You have a mayor, he's not running for re-election. So he has nothing to lose. You have Elizabeth Simmons. She's not running for re-election. And let me tell y'all the real tea. That's because she wants Frankie Edmonds' seat. She's not going out the Page Church seat. So therefore, some deals have been made that she will go out the Frankie Edmonds' seat. So that's why she's sitting out of this. I know they're going to be mad when they hear that part.
Barry.
But anyway.
Cut it out.
But she's not running for re-election, so she has nothing to lose. So guess what? We have to be stuck with this. Because if these people were running, what you heard Mr. James Overton over there talking about, he would be invited. They wouldn't invite me because they don't like me right now, but they would invite them to, come on, we having a crime task force, we're doing this, we're doing that, because they want to get reelected. So now, guess what? We, the people, have to take our city back because we're not going to get any help from them. The majority bloc, Bill Moody, he has another year to go before his 2 more years before he is up for re-election, and so it's only Nathan Clark. So I'm pretty sure Nathan, he'll be at all our civic leagues. He'll right now he watching from a distance. He gonna wait for us to share it, and then he'll watch it later, and then he'll call James. Hey, tell me what you need. I'm right here for you, whatever the case may be. After all, he did graduate from Norcom.
That's fine. But listen, we have to be, like Mr. Overton always said, be vigilant. And it's nothing wrong with agreeing to disagree. And you don't have to make enemies in doing it.
And we don't have to be holding hands running down High Street singing "Kumbaya."
That's right.
We just have to know we have a single purpose, a single goal.
That's right.
To cut into this crime and go that way. And then we work together on that, and then we go our separate ways. We go home.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me say this as an elder person. This can turn around because I've seen it. I've seen a time where downtown, you couldn't go downtown. No one wanted to go downtown because another element had taken over downtown. And I've seen different changes. I've seen Lincoln Park be the worst, and I've seen it sort of calm down. So a change can happen. It all depends on our leadership, and mostly we have to hold ourselves responsible too. We can't put it all on the leadership, even though they run saying what they can do. You got to hold them accountable for what they say they can do.
Yes.
But we also have to be diligent and be responsible for our own communities and come together. This thing can turn around.
It can.
But as long as we fussing back and forth and thinking about stuff that was said yesterday, tomorrow somebody else could be dead.
That's right.
So we need to come together.
And let's
and
stop
and
fighting
try to-
each other.
And stop fighting each other. And blow your whistles.
All right. Well, listen. Until next month, this is Barry, Arnett, and James letting you guys know. And listen, on February the 29th, James and Elvira and myself, we're hosting a Black History Luncheon entitled How Blacks Got Their Seat at the Portsmouth Table with our keynote speaker, Reverend Robert Earl. I think I have about 12 tickets left or so. Please get a ticket and come on out. We're going to have a wonderful, wonderful time February the 29th at Brighton Rock AME Zion Church in the city of Portsmouth, Virginia. Tickets are $30. You can see James. You can even holler at Arnett. She'll get one from me to get to you or however. But we want to have a great time. Don't forget to vote for Barry and Arnett for Portsmouth City School Board because we have work to do.
Ask them the tough
And
questions,
we can
y'all. I think they're
develop.
prepared for whatever you throw at them. But ask them to be comfortable in yourself with what these people that want to represent you. Ask them the tough questions. They're ready.
Yeah, just be nice.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
when you ask, just can you be nice? It don't matter if you're nice or not. I promise. Because
Yeah.
I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm gonna be good, even if you be ugly to me. But I'm just letting you know I got feelings too.
Don't
so
come
just be
try to
nice.
interrogate us.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
we here. I'm P-Town grown,
Right,
baby.
put the hot light on
I'm a
them.
P-Town
Yeah,
girl, and I'm
yeah.
all about
Yeah.
our kids and our citizens, and I want to do what's best. And I didn't come here to ruffle feathers or make enemies, but believe me, I come to do what's best for our citizens, all citizens.
Right, you have somebody that's gonna vote for you on that. Look, Melvin Cotton
Hey,
Jr. He said you got his support.
thank you.
See?
I'll
So,
be getting in
yeah.
touch with you.
So please listen, you guys. I'm telling you all, please get to the polls this November. Take your soul to the poll. One of them seats is mine regardless.
Okay.
So I'm excited, and we have work to do, and I look forward to bringing and being a person in an elected official position and doing what's necessary for the people because this is what we do. So anyway, we have work to do. Look forward to what's going to happen. Love you guys. God bless you.
God bless
One
you.
last thing. Listen to Arnett every Saturday at 11 o'clock.
Every
right?
Saturday at 11.
Are you on PCE?
WPCE 1400.
WPCE. And don't forget me every Monday morning at 6:30 a.m. from 6:30 a.m. to 7 on WGPL 1350 a.m. The sister station to WPCE as we try to bring you encouraging and
Yeah.
informative information about various subjects.
That's
So
right.
join us there. Thank you.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Y'all have a good night.
And don't forget us on third Mondays.
Third Monday.
Third Mondays. All right. Okay.
I think you got. Oh, you may hit that first.